Welcome to the BitGeek podcast show, episode 1. I'm your host, Ron Avis, and with me is my co-host,
Nick Wright, jack of some trades and amateur video game designer extraordinaire.
You nailed the shit out of that, man.
I practiced very hard.
Yeah, we rehearsed that a little bit. From here, it's going to go straight downhill. But again, this is our first show, and we're very excited, both of us, to put some content out there on YouTube and do this thing. It's going to be hopefully a weekly podcast on video and audio. We're going to get a video or a feed soon, so that you can listen to the podcast on your preferred method, whether it be through iTunes or whatever. If you're Android, I used what is it called? Pocket Casts. But all the services, the service will be there, so you can get it wherever you normally get podcasts. So yeah, this is primarily a video podcast. So here we are looking at you. We're not the most comfortable people in front of the screen, so this is going to be a bit awkward to start out with. But here we are. We're just jumping right in. And when I came to you about doing a show, at first you were, what were you thinking when I first said let's do a show?
I was like, "Are you kidding me?" And I think I literally told you, I don't talk.
Yeah, I don't talk, and that's not a great thing when you're talking about doing a podcast where like all you have is voice.
But I mean, I thought, it's probably good to try to do something out of your comfort zone.
Totally.
And ultimately decided, well, as long as it's something that I'm passionate about, that I enjoy, that I can talk about such things. So here I am.
Yeah, I mean, this is we're just talking about things that we normally talk about. Whether it be face to face or like messaging, like texting back and forth. That's what this show is about. We're just gonna put it to video and sound. We're actually recording it and documenting this.
All the geek things that
geek culture. It's big right now. Like geeks are in.
Used to get beat up for, and now it's popular.
Yeah, the geeks are now the cool people. The geeks get the hot girl, and the geeks always kind of had all the money. That's the nerds, though. The nerds had all the money because they had the brains to where, they could get a good job. Like, they might suffer a bit through school.
Back up a little bit, though. The geeks get the hot girl? I have not. That hasn't happened.
Well, my wife is super smoking hot.
Well.
But that's...
It worked for you.
Yeah, it worked for me. No, it's like geeks are very popular. They're in, and like maybe I'm just fooling myself by saying that sentiment. Like the geek is the hot girl, Nick. Did you know that? No, they don't actually.
I didn't get the memo.
What the hell? Aren't they just jumping into the boat for you, man, left and right?
No.
Well, they just don't know you're geeky enough. So this is probably going to change all that. But no, yeah. I said like, hey man, let's do this show, and you first said, I don't know, man. That doesn't sound like something I'd be
Let me get back to you.
Yeah. But who was it that what was it that changed your mind? Like what made you decide to go ahead and go like, yeah, you wanted to get it out of your comfort zone, do something out of your comfort zone. But what was the thing that made you say, yeah, let's do it for sure?
I really couldn't say. Yeah, I don't know. Just that
or did I just goat you enough to where you were just like, yeah, shut up, I'll do it?
Yeah, that had to be it. I mean, it seemed like something you really wanted to do, and I kind of want to say, and I don't want to say at the same time. I didn't want to let you down. That sounds kind of cheesy.
Oh, thanks,
but
we've been friends for a long time. Just to kind of clue you guys in on the relationship that Nick and I have. We've been pretty much best friends for, 25.
Can't do math in head.
We met each other in the 6th grade.
How old were we in the 6th grade?
So in the 6th grade, you're like, what, 12, 13, something like that?
And now we're 40.
Now we're 40. We're old, man. We're so old. So 40... then you take 13, 12, that's, oh my God, that's 27 years. We've been friends for approximately 27 years. And it ironically, or maybe not ironically, it was it was serendipitous that video games, there was a really geeky thing that kind of like brought us together, at least got us talking to each other for the first time.
And I think it was Super Mario Brothers 2.
I think you're right, Nick. I think it was Super Mario Brothers 2. And we weren't really talking about the game so much as it was, I had the instruction book, those great little books that, you used to get with most games.
They don't come with games anymore.
You're lucky to get a single card now.
If that. You don't even hardly get that anymore. It's ridiculous.
I think I have...
They might let you get like a digital instruction like online that you can like click through menus and get.
Yeah, everything's just tutorialized nowadays. Like when you pop a game in, you get your hand held through the first mission, which is more or less serves as tutorial.
The instruction manuals were so cool because all the artwork, and which is why I think the point that you were getting to.
We could talk about how great art, like the artwork of instruction booklets were, but back to the point was. We were we were both interested in the Mario.
I like to draw,
and Nick liked to draw,
and so I was always drawing Mario, and so I wanted the instruction book to just draw all the characters that were in the book, and so I guess you had it at school, and I'm like, hey, kid, I don't know, can I borrow your? I don't even remember how it went down. But
I don't remember how it went down. I remember the thing that it was Super Mario Brothers 2 was the manual.
Can I borrow that so I can draw it?
Did you really come right out and say, "Can I borrow that"?
Well, I'm
Kids
pretty
do that kind of thing.
I'm pretty sure I did want to borrow it from you.
Be like, "Hey, I'm Nick.
And
nice
I don't
to meet
remember.
You. Can I have your?
I don't remember if I took
thing?
it home, or if it was just like drawing in class and then I gave it back or something.
Yeah.
I don't because I'm always doodling in class.
Yeah, you were the class kind of like artist. You were the kid that all the other kids would come up to you and bother you to draw like Johnny Five.
I'll give you a nickel to draw Chester Cheetah.
A nickel for a whole nickel.
And I'm like, all right, whatever. Here, and I would get like a nickel or a dime here and there.
That's so cool, man.
What?
Like when you have a talent like that, it's easy to make friends.
I never really understood why people wanted such things. Like, why do you want this like crudely drawn 6th grade drawing of Chester Cheetah?
Well, I guess when you think about it, it's not like you could just print something out and have it, or just things weren't available to you. I guess if you had your own picture of Chester Cheetah, like you could do something with it, and then you had it. I don't know.
For whatever reason, I specifically remember that one being like something somebody would ask for. Like there would be like Garfield.
Garfield.
Bart Simpson.
Bart Simpson. I could actually draw Bart Simpson, and I was a bit of an artist myself, but not nearly as good as Nick was. I was a pretty crappy artist. Until I met Nick, I was the kid who would be like, I'll give you, I wouldn't even get a nickel. Like, they'll just I'll talk to you if you draw this spaceship for me or something. I'm like, okay, I'll draw a spaceship for you. So that's what I did in class. Like, I would just doodle and daydream, and then, you were like, hey, I'm draw that. And I guess that's how we became friends. We both liked to draw, and we were both interested in Mario.
And it seemed to work with you and me, but I never really forged the friendships from the people that were paying me the nickels for.
Well, I don't think I asked you to.
You
draw
never did.
For me.
No, you never did. No, it was just me asking, I think, for the instruction book, and then we found common interests from there.
Right.
And
that's basically.
And then it's like spawns into the hey, can I spend the night kind of thing. And how does that even start? Does that, do I say... It sounds
weird as an adult, but when you're a kid...
Do I say, can I spend the night at your house? Or do you say, hey, why don't you come and spend the night with me? We'll play some video games.
I'm sure I probably approached you first to, stay the night. In my head, I would imagine that I would be the first one. Like, hey, man, you want to come over and play some whatever game it is?
Yeah, I'm not even sure how that goes down anymore with kids. Like, how...
I'm sure they still do it.
Oh, I know. Oh, they absolutely do.
Or you could just Skype spend the night or something like
that. No, they're
like, why would you even need to? There's no couch co-op games anymore, so why stay the night over to a friend's house? It's part of the fun of staying the night is you get your gaming done, but everything online is over. You got your headset. You're very individual. The screen is all your own. You're not, splitting it up like in 4 squares.
Oh, GoldenEye, yeah, where you're all huddled around like the TV.
A small,
and
not even like a high
the
definition
other person's
screen.
like you're cheating because you're looking at my corner of the screen to see where I'm hiding.
Even if you like didn't mean to like cheat, like your eye would always kind of wander off.
Yeah,
like, oh
No,
damn,
not-
I know where you are. I'm sorry. And then I can't
just
help it
happened
not
to
go
find
kill
you.
Am I supposed to let you go? No, I'm gonna pop some proximity mines all around you and watch you shoot each one by one as I laugh.
But I think that's getting a little far ahead. I think.
Yeah, that's definitely GoldenEye. Yeah, we were talking about Super Mario Bros.
Yeah, that's Nintendo 64, and I think we want to go.
But we became friends. We met in middle
8-bit.
school, and for whatever reason, like it's been so long ago, like I don't even really remember. I can only imagine what the thing was that connected us and kept us friends. But going to the same school and being into art and video games were for sure the thing. And then you add things like Ninja Turtles into the mix.
Yeah,
Which
and
will really tighten up friendship.
I don't know if it was. I think it must have been you that got me into Ninja Turtles. I think you had.
I was all in on those turtles.
You were all over the turtles, and that got me super interested. And I went and I got like the graphic novels and everything.
Did you get the graphic novels after? As I was thinking, like you had the graphic novels maybe before it became a phenomenon.
I think the '80s cartoon was already a big hit, and I sought them out.
Gotcha.
And because it was like the collection of all the original comics, because I never got the original comics, but there were 4 graphic novels that were like the entire collection of all those, and I sought
and I
those
remember
out.
seeing those and like being so foreign to me after watching the cartoons.
Yeah, 'cause it was just like so hardcore.
It was hardcore
compared to the '80s cartoon.
They all had the same color bandanas, I think. Like, were they all red? Like,
they were all red.
Was red. There wasn't like a party dude and a nerdy one and a.
I mean, they did kind of have those personalities. Like Donatello, he always was kind of the scientific one. Mm-hmm. I mean, not like so much like the '80s cartoon did, but they each definitely still had those personalities, but they didn't have the color differentiation. It was just really the weapons. That was
genius. Whoever like decided to come up with that, like let's give them different colors.
Let's color code them.
Let's color code them.
So it's easy for kids.
And we can sell the toys much easier.
And while we're color coding them, let's put a letter on their belt. An L, an M, an R.
They didn't have the letter on the belts?
No.
Even?
No.
God, that it was just like 4 straight up, very similar looking.
If they didn't have their weapons, they looked exactly alike.
But they always had the same weapons. It was always the same.
Because even now, like with the Nickelodeon CGI one, say like it was black and white and the color is not an issue, they all look totally different. Donatello's tall. Michelangelo's got like little freckles on his face.
I've seen a few episodes of
Raphael's got like a crack in his shell.
They seem well done, but without that, I'm just so stuck in my ways of the old 80s cartoon. Even though one of the characters' voices is the same.
Oh, it's the same voice actor, but he's a different character.
Yeah, the voice actor who was Raphael, I think, is now either Michelangelo or Donatello.
I think he's Donatello.
Yeah.
But I don't really watch it as much.
Also, if I'm not mistaken, the kid who had sex with an apple pie is Leonardo.
Jason Biggs?
I'm sure that's how like Winnet interviewed for the job. Like, hey, I put my penis in a pie. Can I be in a kid's cartoon TV show?
Yeah, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, that's Jason Biggs. That's totally Jason Biggs.
Is Leonardo?
Yeah.
Wow.
Unless I'm wrong, and then somebody can correct me in the comments and then crucify me. Like, you call yourself a geek. You don't even know the voices of the later television series that you admit to not watching all that often.
I'd like to watch that Nickelodeon series, and every now and then I'll look on Netflix and do they have those yet? No, they don't.
No, they don't. You can only get them on DVD too. Is the crazy thing. You can't even buy a Blu-ray version of that show.
Really?
That's true. Unless they've changed things in the last year, which boggles my mind that you can in this day get a Blu-ray version of something. DVD is the only way you can get it.
And is because I know I've seen a lot of times these cartoons and stuff. Is the DVD version the first season, or is it just this episode, like
Like
a handful,
package,
a handful of
handpicked
episodes.
Yeah. That's a good question. I think it is actually the handpicked.
Yeah, because
episodes.
see, that's you got to get the whole season, and
But you would think, but by now in season whatever, like I'm sure they've done 4 or 5.
It's been going on for a few years now, so
Yeah.
it's pretty far along.
Still no Blu-ray.
Because I know I've seen like toys like, what is going on in that show now? Yeah.
Oh, and you know what's funny too is I've noticed that the toy line is taking it's going down all the same roads as the original toy line.
Just
where
making
at first just ridiculous. Like backflipping Michelangelo.
Yeah.
And breakdancing Michelangelo, where like it's just like a chunky version of Michelangelo that spins on his back.
And like the mutating. Oh, I've seen like mix and match. You pull like their limbs off and put new limbs on, and
Yeah, I don't understand that at all.
I guess kids like it. I don't know.
I guess if you get bored with one configuration of turtle, you can always create a Frankenstein monster.
Or like the mutating ones where it's like basically a transformer. They transform like into a big turtle.
Oh yeah, and it doesn't look cool as a rope. Like in concept, it doesn't like work as a transformer, and it certainly doesn't work as a toy that you would want to play with as a ninja. It's like they failed miserably on both fronts.
I don't know why. I mean, it was like this with like the Batman toys, the Ninja Turtle toys,
Yeah,
probably
so
many
get
other
that
toys.
classic
It's
first
like,
run.
You get like the normal figure, and that's good, and people like that.
People buy
and
the
then
hell
it's
out of
like
that.
now we need a gimmick.
Yeah, we need a gimmick because people aren't buying the original. Like every kid's got the original, so we don't have any more characters really to draw from. So we're just gonna keep rehashing over and over and over. Let's do a Michelangelo where you can take his fist off and put a mace on the end of it and spin around really fast. Like what's the point of that? What you're gonna have that toy and you're gonna use that in what situation? You're just like playing and then like, oh, Michelangelo and I'm Leonardo. Like, hang on a second, and then you reach over and like, no.
If there was like some sort of like reason, like this happened in the
In an
show
episode,
kind of
yeah.
thing, I
Right.
get it. But they just come up with the crazy stuff. I like to go to Target or someplace like that, like every now and then, and just kind of look like, so what do they have on the shelves now? You know.
I still do it too. I did it today, as a matter of fact.
Did you?
Yeah, I was at Target and I was picking up a few things, not toy related. See, I have a 6-year-old, so like I have a bit of it. I never needed an excuse to
When I'm there, it's like I'm looking at toys and I'm thinking like, maybe I'm looking for my kid. You don't know.
Oh yeah, people don't know. Like they give you the look. They just probably assume that you're looking for your kid. You can use that when you're 40. You can use that. But I remember being like right out of high school, like 18, 19, 20, and I'm still heading over to Toys R Us. We'd make whole outings, like get in the car and then drive to a mall, look through all the stores, go to another mall, look through all the stores. There's another thing that we did back in the heyday.
And
But when you have Amazon, you don't need that anymore.
When the Combiner Wars came back with the Transformers, like what was it, like 2 years ago now
A couple
already?
of years ago, yeah. It was really good series.
It like brought all that back because it's like I gotta have all of the limbs to make the Gestalt, the big one.
Once again,
I gotta have the big one.
Yeah, and you could easily...
And it was ridiculously hard to find them. I couldn't find them anywhere.
It is hard to find them, and you can't help it like going to Amazon and picking up the pieces that you couldn't find. But I definitely try and find it in the wild first.
That's what I wanted to do. I think eventually I bought... Now, I know, like, with the Combaticons, I bought them online because I was just like, I tried it with the Stunticons. I tried.
Retail stores.
I'm not doing it again.
I'm not missing this boat.
Yeah, it was like so much wasted time.
Yeah.
Trying to find these cars in Target or whatever Target. And
You weren't hitting the Walmarts, though, pal. The Walmarts had a lot of them.
we've got a Walmart now that they do seem so much better than Target.
Yes. You Walmart, we love you. Target, you're still open.
Yeah, because there was that Walmart that had closed down, and then they, like years later, made a super Walmart in the same place.
Yeah, we used to work in that Walmart.
Yeah.
Not at Walmart, but in a McDonald's.
And so I went there like for the first time, like, you know, a few weeks after they opened, and the Transformers section was glorious.
Did it glow?
It glowed.
Did it like? Was there like a glorious?
There was
hymn?
like an angel, like yeah, and I didn't buy anything, But the selection was great because I'm so used to
And
going
that's
to.
why people, because everybody buys from Amazon nowadays. I guess it's just cheaper. Well, you don't have Prime. Like I have
No,
Prime,
I
and
don't
you
have
literally,
Prime.
it is a lot of times cheaper with Prime. And it's, I mean, I know you're just like me. Like you still order a lot of stuff online. They'll bring it right to your door. It's awesome. Online shipping's here to stay for sure, and it's only getting easier. And even like Walmart's jumping into the fray. Like they're putting a whole lot of money into their online service to compete with Amazon. Now we've gone into like online shopping.
Yeah, I mean,
But those toy sections that to see those toys that and to see like nostalgia working its magic and everything that was once cool is now back then is cool again. Our moment has come and is probably on the tail end. You know, like I think like things like Power Rangers are starting to see their day. They're having their moment again.
Yeah, with this movie that came out, I haven't seen it, but
Never once saw an episode of Power Rangers. Then
well,
I am not interested in. I mean, no.
we
no
were in high
disrespect.
school, I think,
True.
when it came out, and
We were probably a little bit old to
but
even
that's
really
the
be
thing
into
because
like
there
Ninja
was a
Turtles and
guy
stuff.
there was a guy at work that he would ask me like, "Are you excited about that Power Rangers movie?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, I'm sure I'll see it eventually, but probably on video or whatever."
As a movie enthusiast, you're like, I want to see it.
And yeah, I mean, it's probably fun, whatever.
I'm sure it's fine.
But he is a little bit younger, and so he's super excited about it and all about it because he grew up with it. And I'm like, well, I was in high school when it came out, so I caught it coming home from school. I'd watch it, but it wasn't, I wasn't like a super fan about it or anything.
Right.
And it was surprising for me to find out really that Power Rangers really never went away. In between, like all this time,
Well, it's because
there was
Japan
pretty much
always keeps it
always
alive.
whether it was like I don't even know like all of the different ones, Power Rangers, Turbo.
Yeah, you're
Power
right.
Rangers,
There were a lot of iterations
whatever.
of Power Rangers where they weren't like Tommy the Green Ranger and
Like Ninja Turtles.
the nerdy blue Ranger guy. Like they weren't the same guys. They would kind of like Saturday Night
Yeah.
Live. There'd be a new generation
Yep.
of Power Rangers like every
Because
so many
Ninja
seasons.
Turtles, it kind of died off
Yeah.
for a little bit, and now it's come back.
Came on
it
strong in the
it
late
came back a few
80s.
times, because there was that they did the new cartoon series like early 2000s or something.
Yeah, I think CBS
And,
had a Saturday morning version.
that was like the first big like Ninja Turtles is coming back. That's so cool.
I think
and,
enough time like
and then there
had
was, like-
passed, though. Like it really didn't seem to catch on, did it?
Was it maybe like the CGI movie that came out after that,
Yeah,
and
well,
then the
yeah, that did
Nickelodeon
come out.
CG
I actually thought
show?
that was pretty good.
Yeah, I kind of liked it.
Those people
It was different because there was no Shredder, and they kind of picked it up like it continued off of the original live action 3 movies, because there was like that scene, I think it was in the end, where you could see like that scepter. Or
Yeah,
whatever,
Shredder had
was
that
from
shelf.
the third, Splinter.
Splinter.
not
My
Shredder.
bad, Shredder. Sorry.
Yeah,
Just hand over my geek card. Right now. I was a huge Turtles fan. Oh, I can't believe I flubbed that.
So they were kind of showing that this was in like the universe of like those original movies, and so that was neat. It was kind of a continuation, and
Geeks love continuity.
absolutely.
That's why the new Ghostbusters movie failed so hard. No continuity.
We-
Learn your lessons, Hollywood.
We won't.
That's a whole other show.
Yeah.
True. I'm sorry. I take it. Let's rewind and not bring Ghostbusters into this. Not this time.
May
Maybe
they
another
rest
show.
in peace. Although
R.I.P. Harold Ramis.
I hear rumors that there may be like, I don't know if it's CG or like an animated thing maybe coming. I don't know, but
Yeah, but if
I
they're gonna have,
don't think the property is dead. And there's comics. I really like the comics too.
Yeah,
there's
comics have definitely. picked up with-
IDW makes a Ghostbusters comic.
They do a good job. They do. I
it's
really
worth
enjoyed
reading.
their Transformer versions of the comics that they brought out.
Yeah, and I really enjoyed that too. And I kind of stopped reading that. And I'd like to get into it again, but it's when you have kind of like missed something for so long, it's hard to get back on.
Yeah, it's kind of like you need something.
Because now there's so much to catch up on. and it's
That's
overwhelming.
how I feel like playing a video game sometime, like Zelda right now. Like,
Absolutely.
I haven't played in a while.
Yeah.
I've been distracted by other games. So like now
life happens.
Life happens.
And so now you want to go back and beat this game or whatever,
Yes.
but where did I leave off?
Yeah.
I have no idea what's going on
I was
now.
really like just chugging along, and like I had I defeated all the beasts, and we're talking about Zelda Breath of the Wild in case you weren't following.
Oh man, I'm talking about like old games that have like
Oh, you're talking about the classics.
well, like
if you were to pick
something
up A
like
Link to the
on
Past or
like
something.
PlayStation or some, I don't know, that I haven't played in like years. With Zelda's case, it's only been like a month.
Yeah. Well, I tend to find out if I don't beat a game, if I don't stick with it, I get distracted, and then I let some time pass, and then before
You got distracted.
I get distracted a lot. I'm like a humongous Switch whore right now. I'm buying up every single Switch game that comes along.
I know the rest of the world has beat Zelda Breath of the Wild by now.
A lot of people have.
But I have not. And I've been slowly plugging at it, and I'm happy with it. I'm going at my pace.
You spent a lot of time screwing around with those, what are they called? Boglins? Not boglins.
Bokoblins?
Bokoblins, yeah. That
Oh, yeah, just finding...
torturing bokoblins. Bokoblins?
Yeah, Boko... I don't know.
I don't know, whatever.
Lizalfos, Bokoblins, Moblins.
Goblins with
Bad guys.
Bad guys and enemies, and it's
Yeah, like when you see like the camp of the bad guys, and you're like, there's a boulder I can roll down on them.
I'm gonna like get
chop
thrown
down
off my
a tree and push a log down onto them. Or,
Yeah, I agree. That's
how
fun.
can I get him pushed onto the campfire? Or
But that's why it's gonna take you 150 to 200 hours to beat a game, is because you spend so much time screwing.
I'm well over 150, I think. Now.
Oh, you're a wow.
I
Jeez,
haven't
remember
really.
when I was way ahead of you?
Yeah,
at like
and,
70
and,
hours.
Yeah, and you're like around 75.
Yeah,
I'm.
you've doubled my time. Oh my god, you're like posting away too, like with the image sharing us every
fun.
night. It is fun, but you're not putting captions though. Like
I
why?
know. Because
You're missing out on a lot of the fun.
I don't
you put
know.
a funny caption.
I don't
Make
know
a
what
meme,
to say. Well, there was that one that I thought I should have, because I said something like when I took
Like
the
what was
picture.
going on in that picture? Like a caption would have been great. Where like you were like looked like you were dancing with some lizard guys. Or
Yeah,
something.
I
You had
just
a lizard.
I just
mask on.
got there was like a Lizalfo mask, and so like I put it on because I suspected if you wear this thing, maybe you can just like wander into their camp and they won't even care. And so I put the thing on, and I just like walk up, and they get like, ooh.
You start checking you out.
Yeah, they're just like, and they
I could tell you guys were getting down in
like
that picture.
4 of them like were surrounding me, and like one's licking on me, and he's just like,
Damn, that's hot.
no, because he wasn't like actually licking on me, because they got like that animation where they just do their tongue every now and then, but.
Sure.
But yeah, they're all just kind of like, what's this guy doing? And it was weird to see too, because just how bigger they are than Link is, because he's like this scrawny little guy,
Oh, he's like the little,
just like
little
looking
brother.
up at him, like,
Just the little brother
what's up, guys? Yeah.
We're going to talk a little bit about Alien Covenant, and I know for you and myself, we were both
You introduced me to the Alien movies. I'd never seen them.
Aliens, right?
It
The
was
second
one. Well, honestly, I don't remember which we saw.
Yeah, I
first.
remember you being at my house, and like it came on. It was on cable, and we both watched it. We were probably not. We probably shouldn't have been. But
I'm pretty sure that I saw both of Alien and Aliens at your house, but I don't know which was first.
so because your parents wouldn't go for that, they would never allow.
Well, I don't know if it was really. Probably.
Probably.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not.
I can't see
they,
you like
they never really like said don't watch this, but it just wasn't something I ever did, and I mean, I always kind of liked monsters and stuff like most I think boys do, and so it was it's like, hey, let's watch Alien. Yeah, let's
And it didn't hurt that it was one of the most kick-ass alien like action movies. Alien /action/horror movies ever. But
I mean,
that movie came out in 1986, and by the time we saw it, it was probably a censored cable version, I imagine.
Creatures are cool.
Creatures are cool, and we've seen just about all of the Alien movies together. I know we've seen Resurrection.
I know
Alien
when
vs.
Resurrection
Predator
came out, we went and saw that in the theater. Yeah,
Alien 3
we
might have
went
been
and
the only
saw
one
like
we
all
didn't
the
see.
worst ones in the theater
Right.
together. Yeah, because at 3, I don't remember at what point. I mean, it might have been with you also. I don't know, but
Might have been.
and it was decent enough in its own right, but it gets a bad rap.
As a follow-up to the first two
It was certainly
movies,
better than 4 and.
Yeah, 4 and the Versus movies were for sure a bit of a letdown. I liked the first Versus movie fine. I just had a problem with some of the edits in the movie.
It was fun. I mean, yeah, and really, I guess my biggest gripe of like the first Alien versus Predator was just the speed of the face huggers and for the alien to come out, because it's like, okay, we got to hurry this up. We can't have a full day pass. And,
yeah, that seems to be something that the filmmakers can never agree on, is the length of time that it actually takes to grow an alien and hatch.
Because that certainly was the case in Covenant as well.
Yeah, we'll talk about Covenant for sure. But like you said, we did. But we kind of both watched we watched all the Alien movies together for the most part, and pretty sure we saw Prometheus, didn't we?
I honestly don't remember if we saw it together in the theater.
But
I think
Prometheus,
though,
but, right? You were in the camp of
I like it. Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest gripe people had with it was that they wanted what they knew, and Prometheus didn't give them the recognizable alien stuff. But I was eating it up because there was so much recognizable. Oh, the derelict spaceship and the engineers and stuff from the original. It really did. It brings all that stuff from, like, what was it, 70... What year
79.
79. All that stuff from 79. Like, it just brings all that back.
Was it H.H. Geiger or H.R. Geiger?
H.R.
H.R. Geiger is brilliant, man. The guy, and he's passed away now, so he was unable to do the art and the set and the look of the Covenant. But with Ridley Scott, they didn't really need to do a whole lot of the H.R. Geiger stuff. Really wasn't necessary, other than the ship that they traveled on.
And yeah,
David
that's
Dr.
what I
Shaw.
like so much about it, and that eventually it would tie together with what we recognize. And I think because of those complaints, they sped that along with Covenant.
Yeah,
when they had Covenant come out.
I think Ridley Scott kind of had his hat in hand. It really bothers me because he's even kind of come out and apologized for Prometheus and how it disappointed a lot of people. Which I say stand by the movie because it's a great movie. It's a really neat science fiction movie that just happens to have alien lore baked into it.
Yeah,
and if you take it for that, it's a really cool movie. And it has its problems like most movies. It's not as good as Aliens. Aliens is way up there. It's so good.
Yeah.
And then I think Prometheus and Covenant stand somewhere in the middle. They're both better than average. They're good movies. And as a pair of movies, they go well together. They go together just fine. But then you got all that garbage like Resurrection and Alien versus Predator, all that stuff. It's like it was the movie of the week. It was very popular.
I don't even hardly remember what even happened in Resurrection.
Oh, it was I
get
the DNA from
I get the point of it. Somehow they got Ripley's DNA. Somehow cloned Ripley.
Yeah, she fell into molten lava steel.
And obviously they got the DNA
scenario.
at some point when she was impregnated with the alien.
Yeah.
So somehow
I don't know how they got DNA from Ridley from Sigourney Weaver.
But that's all I remember is that they had aliens.
She was back as a clone
because they cloned them, and she was back, and they break out. And
then there were these
loose.
kind of scavenger bandit types, where they had Ron Perlman was one of the guys, and then they had Winona Ryder was the android in that version. Like they were like a ship of I don't even really remember. Like you said, it's very forgettable.
Call the android.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
Very forgettable. There's no point in even rehashing it. They sold it. It was supposed to be the big comeback for the Aliens franchise. They actually got Sigourney Weaver to be in it. Totally forgettable. Probably not a horrible movie for the time.
Well,
I'm sure we came out of the theater somewhat. We were happy to see an alien movie.
The newborn was like so weird.
It was really, yeah. There was like a mother alien with a womb, and it had birth. Like it actually had a womb. Like it didn't. It was like the first alien that didn't have to explode out of some like a host.
Yeah, I didn't even really. I remember watching it in the theater and like,
I think
what's going on?
It was odd. But then the Alien versus Predator movies came along. Very, like was demanded by the fans. It took them years to do. They did it. It made a good chunk of money. Came out.
It was cool,
okay.
to see the two together.
It's neat to see a Predator fight an alien.
Yeah.
I can give them that much in the movie. The Predator and the alien looked really cool. And when they fought, it was neat. It was just like the story holding it all together. It wasn't so good.
and like, the human heroine teaming up with the Predator, like,
yeah, that ain't gonna happen.
Bro fisting it, like that was cool.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
But Covenant, it's a good movie. I'm recommending. I think people should see it. It's a Ridley Scott movie, and he's going to handle it with respect and care. So it starts out with David the android and Waylon, a bit younger, much younger than when we see him in
he
the
was
first Prometheus
quite
movie.
old in Prometheus,
and he's sort of talking to David about humanity and meeting his maker, and he even it's revealed that David gets his name from Michelangelo's David. It's kind of like that. I could see where they were going.
It was like he named himself.
He did kind of see the Michelangelo.
So he just
I think I'll call myself David.
My name's David.
It had that feel to it.
Yeah.
But it felt like there was a bit of a grudge that David, from the get-go, held against Waylon and humans because
as soon as he was like,
tea.
"Well, you're gonna die. Get my tea."
Yeah, he was like, "Get my tea, bitch. Get my tea, boy." And it was almost like the scene played out like that, and David Preston walked out.
It was like as soon as that happened, as soon as it was like, "Get my tea," David's like, "Oh, that's how it's gonna be."
Oh, okay, I see how it is.
Okay,
fine.
Here's your tea.
I'm gonna murder all of humanity. Bitch.
We'll see how things go from here.
Anyway, so it starts out.
And then it cut to the Covenant ship.
Yeah, the Covenant ship, and it starts out with a bang, literally. The new version of David Walter, who I guess is supposed to be a little bit less human and a little more.
Yeah, because he's a newer model, but they decided that having these emotions is a dangerous thing.
People didn't like it, apparently.
Yeah, it's weird, so we're going to make you more robot-like.
Yeah, your model makes humans uncomfortable, so they made my model. And then, they had that whole scene, like a showdown later in the movie, where android, where first they were like brothers, and then, they of course had a fight at the end. But, so you got Walter, and, they're, as you do in the future when you travel long distances, you go into hypersleep. Everybody's in their little chambers, and then there's something happens.
Yeah, every alien movie, you got to go into hyperspace or hypersleep, rather. I'm sorry, and the android's running the ship basically while everybody sleeps.
Yeah, he's bored out of his mind, running the ship, doing the day-to-days, but he's not going to complain because he's an appliance. Yeah. He's going to do what he's told to do.
And within seconds, huge explosion out of nowhere, and.
And then poor James Franco gets toasted.
Barely
in the movie.
The funny thing about that, and I guess it's because he's an android, but it's he didn't even take quick action, retract the sails, because they had put out those.
The computer mother was letting Walter know that there was a major malfunction going on. If something didn't happen soon, they were probably going to lose the ship.
They
So
had
Walter
a solar
proceeds
panel.
to fast walk his way.
He didn't even fast walk. He's just like
Kind of shaunters.
yeah, I just kind of started walking toward, and really, I don't even know where he would have been walking to because he just would say just verbally
Mother
these
takes
commands
care of everything.
to
Well, there was like the artificial intelligence that was
retract the solar panels so the explosion doesn't destroy them.
Well,
all.
he was hurrying to that area because he had to put out the fires, I guess, that was being caused.
I guess the first thing he did was
Get the
wake
people
up
out.
the crew.
Yeah, wake up the crew.
Yeah, emergency wake up.
So it was the emergency wake up, and then one of the crew members there's a malfunction in his pod. He burns alive.
Poor James Franco.
Poor James Franco. I was so looking forward to a Danny McBride, James Franco, Pineapple Express reunion, but it didn't happen. Too bad. So yeah, they take care of the crisis, and so they're waking up like 6-7 years earlier than expected.
Mm-hmm.
And just so happens the crew member that dies is the captain. So they get a new captain, Billy Crudup's character, who I couldn't stand at all.
Yeah,
very unsure of himself,
so
very
conflicted.
insecure.
Yeah, that whole.
Right off the bat, his wife is like reassuring him. He's barely been a captain for like 10 minutes.
Yeah,
it's like, you're okay, honey. You're gonna do a good job. You're not gonna mess up. What a whiny guy.
And immediately he's making decisions that makes everybody mad at him, but he's like, I'm the captain and that's the decision I made, don't question it.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, it's now really
we want to have a funeral for this guy, for the original captain.
Our friend.
No funerals. We must immediately repair the ship.
I'm the captain and I say this is what's going to happen. Yeah, it's very, very childlike. But he was trying to assert his
and he watches like shoot James Franco's burnt corpse into space. And
right, they're having a little ceremony.
Yeah, they have their little drink in his honor, and
very touching.
They directly disobeyed my order.
What an ass. So, anyway, so that apparently there was this ghost transmission, and the ghost transmission is sending out. We didn't talk about this after the movie, but how Tennessee, Danny McBride's character, was able to make out that John Denver song from that.
Yeah, I wasn't hearing it.
I wasn't hearing it either, but apparently they discovered that this ghost signal is human because of a John Denver song.
Because they recognize a John Denver song, of all things. Yeah. In what year is this, like 21?
Good point. Yeah, that song is centuries old, basically, at this point. But
anyway,
his name is Tennessee, and by God, in Tennessee, you're going to know some John Denver, by God. So anyway, so they're very excited to find out the origin of this signal. They discover it's coming from a planet that is very much similar to the planet they were originally supposed to go to. They were 7 years away from. It was supposedly a habitable planet. And the new captain is going to make an executive decision. He wants to check this planet out.
But no, it's too good to be true, says Daniels.
Oh, Officer Daniels, the strong female lead of the movie, basically. She opposes him right away. She does not think it's a good idea.
But not openly.
In private.
She goes to private and says, hey, I don't think this is a good idea.
Yeah, she protests. She officially says,
I want it to be on record. Exactly.
I want it to be on record.
Yeah, but she doesn't do it in front of the crew.
Right. Yeah. Of course, Billy Crudup takes that. I don't even know his name. I'm just going to call him Billy Crudup. He takes it personally, like, on record. Okay, you can't just trust me.
Fine, on record.
It's like, you were just being a little, like, by the books bitch a minute ago, and now you're going to, like, take it personally if I go on record. Anyway, so they decide to check it out. So here we go. We all know as viewers that this is where things are going to get hairy. They split up the team. A handful of crew members going to go down and investigate. They take a little ship down to the surface and run some tests, I guess, without helmets on.
And the first thing, let's park it in the water.
We'll park it in the water where there's for sure bacteria and everything.
My first thought was like, I thought the water was deep, where they parked it, and they just
looked like a lake.
They just walked out. They're just wading, up to their ankles.
Yeah, don't know how they knew that they weren't just going to.
Yeah, how did they know? And they just like walk out there without even any masks on.
I guess we're just supposed to understand that their technology's so sophisticated.
Yeah, because the computer said that it's good, so we're just gonna stroll on out.
Walk in the park.
And I guess our sensors said that the water's only a few inches deep, so.
So even though it's true they didn't suffocate immediately.
Don't have to worry about any wildlife jumping out and eating us or anything, I guess.
For sure, no
sensors say
killer
that
pathogens are gonna pop up.
Because the computer must tell us everything except the spores that killer spores that we might breathe in.
Look, these people are stupid. they have to be stupid in order to get this plot moving along. They have to do stupid things to get these aliens a rolling. All right, so the team splits up. Half goes up to. Well, I can't even remember. Like I remember they split up. Like half went to look for the signal of the ship.
The Captain Number 2's wife wanted to
collect some samples.
Yeah, stare at some dirt or something. And the rest were going towards the signal, towards the ship.
Right, Captain's wife and another soldier guy.
Yeah. So you stay with her, and the rest
they're gonna hang out
and we'll all meet back at whatever time.
They're already doing the cardinal sin of splitting up.
Yeah.
You know that's a bad sign.
Yeah.
All right, so not a few minutes in goes by, we see a dumb soldier guy who's stayed behind with Captain's wife, steps on something, the spores fly up, go right into his ear, and boom.
Yeah. He's infected.
He's going to have a very bad day.
Doesn't know it.
No.
But he's infected.
He's infected, and then search party number 2 to check out the...
they find the ship.
Signal. They do find the ship, and then here's our...
Find the source of the distress signal.
Yep, they find the ship that we see Shaw and David flew off in at the end of Prometheus. That ship is crashed, and they find that ship with nobody in it. But the life forms on the planet have basically taken this ship over. Like there's more of those spores.
Yeah.
Another dumb soldier guy gets infected.
Like puts his hand in it on it, trying to prop himself up or something, climb up on something.
He breathes in the alien.
So it breaks it and the little spores fly out and he breathes it in.
So like right off the bat, like 2 out of the 7 or 8 people are dead. Just dead. They're not going to last much.
Doesn't even know it yet. Nobody seems to see the spores. They're made very clear for the audience to see, but nobody else seems to even see it at all. Yeah, they don't even know.
They're invisible, but we, like you said, we obviously see it fly into them and do its thing. So things are about to get hairy really quick. They find the ship. They're looking through the ship. They're trying to find the signs of the signal. They don't really find anything. Pretty much at this point, dumb soldier guy number 1 is starting to get really sick.
Hacking and wheezing.
Yeah, he's coughing up blood, and number 2's wife is like, we got to get you back to the mid-bay. And that's where we have Tennessee's wife, who's looking after the ship. She's a little bit freaked out right away because she's actually smart.
Yeah, well, because we just landed on this alien planet, all of a sudden you're sick. Something bad is going down.
Yeah, so she's actually sort of smart. Like, she knows, like, this is not a good thing. You're bringing a sick guy. Like, we've been on this planet all of 20, 30 minutes, and, like, now you're rushing back.
This is not a good thing.
Coughing up blood. This guy, you can't even walk on his own.
Quarantining this guy.
Right, so they actually make it back to the ship first, and the dude's in bad shape. Well, he spits up some blood. Tennessee's wife sees this, freaks out immediately. She's, like, already thinking, like, well, I don't want to be anywhere around this. So she puts him in like the med bay, set on a table. David leads him back to what apparently was the city of the engineers. This kind of last great city of the engineers, where they were supposed to go and find Shaw and David. I mean,
and it's kind of shown in the like flashbacks that David has. Exterminated the engineers.
When you see the city, it's very much in ruins. Like, you see ash.
But I mean, that's one city in like this whole planet.
I don't believe for a second that that's
So-
the last we'll see of the engineers.
Yeah, so I mean,
It was it'd be like going to Earth.
I don't
and
know
then
if
an
we're
alien
supposed to
city
believe-
taking out New York City. There's still other cities on the planet.
yeah, I don't know what we're supposed to believe because obviously, I mean, they can't just like congregate in like this one city, and that's like the entire race.
Yeah, no, especially if they had expanded across so many universes like they have. And I think that's kind of what we're meant to believe, but I don't believe for a second that that could be the case. But anyways, this city it's been destroyed, and David's the sole survivor of this city. And like you said, we do get to see a flashback where, like, well, what the hell happened with Shaw and David? Like, did they actually get to the city? They show that in a scene that I don't think anybody was super excited or happy with.
I'm kind of wondering, like, because it's like in that flashback scene, he's hovering the spaceship directly over the center of the city,
And
where
it
he
seemed kinda like the
unleashes
engineers
the
were happy
bio
they were
weapon.
home. It seemed like there was a celebration.
Yeah, because they're like, oh,
they're home.
The guys from whatever expedition came back, and this is great. And wait, who's this guy? He's unleashing the bio weapon.
Oh yeah,
Everyone
he opens the bay
run.
doors, and nobody has time to react. He just drops like.
But my question is, so, okay, he was in control, right, at that point. So how did his ship end up like seemingly crashed
know.
over like where
Now he tells
the Covenant crew found it?
David tells the crew.
He tells
member-
them that he crashed, but
Yes. We kind of later find out that that's.
so was
maybe
that
not-
all a ruse? I mean, like, was that like his plan all along? Like, okay, now that I've exterminated this city of engineers, now let me go fake crash the ship so that if somebody eventually happens to come by, like, I don't know, 10 years later, that
approximately
I can
10
tell
years later.
them that, oh, yes, I was with Dr. Elizabeth Shaw and we crashed and she died in the crash. And I mean, was that like all planned that way?
Yeah, things were kind of coming together as a movie very quickly, and the explanations were told, but I don't know if they were the best. I'd like to think that somewhere out there's a cut of this movie that's better than what we saw, like an extras, maybe fill in some holes here or there. But David, we still don't know that David's clearly a monster.
No,
The
yeah.
crew doesn't know.
Yeah,
but he
right
does
now
tell.
he's just their savior.
They're very happy not to be like eaten alive out in the wild. David befriends Walter because they have a commonality of androids.
Kin,
He's a
so
kin.
to speak.
Right. And then slowly you start to see like the true David come about. He tells the story in flashback form to Walter that that Shaw was, she puts him together back to his head back on a body, kind of like cares for him, and that David was very affectionate towards Shaw.
Yeah, I mean, because he actually says that he loved Shaw, and but she, in his words, unfortunately crashed.
She was killed.
In the crash.
Yeah, and they were even standing over like a grave marker.
Yeah, and that
With a flower,
kind of
and it
leans.
was very-
That goes back to my question like before. Like, so then did he like purposefully crash? And so then it's like the same thing. So because spoiler, we find out that he killed Shaw to experiment on with the
He
bioweapon.
loved
But
Shaw, but she was expendable.
so
to him.
why then did he even like put like this headstone marker for like a grave site?
Yeah, David's a very complicated character, to say the least.
Why would you do that when there's like nobody around? You don't even know when somebody might come. I mean, I guess obviously Shaw is the one that had created the distress signal. And he kept that going, I guess, in hopes that somebody would eventually come, and then he's got new toys to experiment with.
It's not clear if Shaw actually did die in the crash, or if maybe she did die and he used her biology.
Maybe she did die in the crash, and then he was just using her body.
There's
exactly.
an autopsy like scene we see later in the movie where I guess it was Daniels, kind of finds, or maybe no, it was the captain, wasn't it?
So I guess, I guess it's not clear if he killed her, but it is clear he experimented on her.
Yeah. He loved her enough to create a grave marker for her, and he spoke of her in such affectionate ways.
Okay, but we know though that they didn't really crash. We see him hovering.
Yeah, you don't see the crash in the flashback
safely over the city.
He unleashes
after that point, did he not know how to land? And so, like, okay, now what do you do? How do you put this thing down?
Those ships usually can land themselves. I mean, almost. I mean, the autopilot and stuff. Well, no, you always see a pilot land, maybe.
So, kind of, Shaw's fate is kind of in question. Yeah. She does die.
She's definitely somehow better than a doornail, and
he does experiment on her.
He has these drawings in a book that he kept where it was almost like there was like tubes to Shaw's or a female's mouth.
Oh yeah.
Which I took it to be Shaw.
Yeah.
Where, I mean, it's very confusing.
It was kind of reminiscent of like the face hugger, the way that the face hugger would impregnate the prey. Exactly.
So moving further along, David brings number 2 captain down into this like little room where David had kind of like.
Oh, in fact, even in that same scene, there was another drawing that it was straight up. There's a facehugger drawing.
Yes, there was a facehugger. So David had been a busy boy. He had somehow managed to create life in the form of these pods that we're very familiar with. In the Alien movie, you always had these pods. It looks just like the pods we always see in all of the Alien movies.
Alien eggs.
Where it splits open. You see the embryo mucus stuff and the tail kind of whip around, and then it jumps out and attaches itself to its prey. Same thing happens in this movie. Captain number 2 gets lured down by David.
And David even tells him, "Oh, look in. It's completely safe."
It's really funny. It's hilarious as a viewer. You know what's happening, and I don't know how this guy could possibly. I guess he trusts him. And this is even after the scene where he shoots the alien that we didn't even talk about.
Yeah, because he's seen. Oh, yeah, we did totally skip that. He seemed to already be very cautious and what is this guy up to? Yeah. Yet
he clearly didn't know the full
extent.
Go
ahead and look in. It's completely safe. Okay.
Bam! The alien facehugger comes out, wraps its tail around the throat. Egg is deposited. We know the deal. A couple seconds later. David is throwing rocks.
Well, yeah, and this is where when we were talking about Alien versus Predator, that whole time frame thing, because there's still how many 2 other survivors.
There's a couple other survivors that are kind of
and they're not haven't missed him long enough yet to come looking
to suspect something was wrong.
And so now cut to a scene that is seemingly 5 minutes, if that, later, and the facehugger is already off.
Yeah.
You don't even see, and from previous Alien movies, we know that they just kind of curl up and die once they come
once they deposit their seed, they just die.
And he's just sitting there throwing rocks at him, wake up,
trying to wake him up,
wake up, and so
Billy Crudup's waking up.
As soon as he wakes up, there's the alien.
Yeah, they have a dialogue for a second. He goes, "What do you believe?" Well, there's a line that he said, "What do you believe in?" Billy Crudup's character asked David, "Do you believe in God or something?"
I don't even remember.
I don't remember. There was some throwaway line apparently because Nick doesn't really remember. Billy Crudup, he knows he's probably not in a good situation. He goes "What do you believe in?" And then boom, the burst out comes the xenomorph. And
it's not even the chest burster that we're used to. It's just a miniature xenomorph that it's
yeah, David.
I've made my entrance.
David kind of does.
This
one of
is
these
what
deals.
you, the audience, wanted, and here I am.
And our friend Troy said that it almost was like he was gonna do the "Hello, my baby, hello, my honey." He just comes
he was
right
gonna
out.
pull out a little straw hat.
top hat and cane.
And he's got the cane. Yeah.
And dances his way off the stage.
Like the frog on Warner Brother cartoons.
Pretty much. Or the Spaceballs, the classic Spaceballs.
Yeah. I mean, I understand that scene, but that's the song, though. It's the Warner Brothers song.
Exactly.
That the frog sings.
So, anyways, the movie at this point is like, let's just fast forward to the action. All of the interesting story elements have passed, and it's just the Xenomorph and David, who are apparently cool with each other. The Xenomorph has no interest in taking care of David, whereas in other Alien movies, the aliens would kill the synthetics no problem. They ripped Bishop in half. It's not
but was it? I need to rewatch Aliens, but was it because he was a threat?
Probably.
Because
but all aliens come across as savage, non-intelligent,
Because I think Bishop was attacking the Queen.
No, Bishop was just walking, and then the Queen, as a scare,
that's right.
comes out
that's
of
right.
nowhere.
We the audience thought like everything was okay at that point.
Safe.
And Ripley Ripley was talking to Bishop, and then all of a sudden, he got scared. I forgot.
So
you're right.
Even though he might have been a threat, I don't think that the alien
you're
necessarily
right. Yeah.
saw. Like,
so you know how they retcon things.
But my point is, like, it's not like the aliens have ever shown that they disregard synthetics. Like, they usually just tear apart anything. But anyway, this Xenomorph is like the mother. The creator, and it recognizes that, I guess. So we're left with David, Xenomorph, Daniels, and one other guy who gets his, face acid burn because another face hugger escapes from the pod.
Oh yes, yeah, and something happened where the acid blood. Gets
it's that classic scene where one of the another guy cuts the face hugger off.
And it's important that this is where Daniels learns that they have acid blood because later on she's like, try not to shoot if you can because they have acid blood.
Yeah, she picked up on that
very quickly. Yeah.
Because the movie told her to. So it's just Daniels and that guy and David and the Xenomorph, and we're to believe that Walter is out of commission because apparently David knows that Walter's a threat and tries to shut him down, and appears to do so. Well, surprise, surprise.
And they have their little fight that they leave very ambiguous as to who won the fight.
Yeah, very ambiguous. The next time we see either one of what we think,
but no one in the audience is surprised.
No, it was the worst surprise ever. You see it from a mile away, and in fact, I'm surprised that the characters in the movie don't come right out and suspect it as being because it kind of felt like there was a tense scene where it seemed like Daniels.
Yeah, so David is now playing off like he's Walter, and they're buying it.
Long story short, Tennessee, through this whole time, is trying to get down to the surface, but there's this big storm. We couldn't get close, so they ended up saying, screw it, we're going down to rescue because shit's going down, and he doesn't know that his wife's dead yet. So he's down there. He gets down to the surface, and it's just the three guys. It's just what we think is Walter, Daniels, and the other guy who I don't even know his name. He's not important.
No, yeah.
He's completely not important. They escape. They kill an alien in the process. Back up to the main ship, the Covenant.
And that was a very quick alien kill.
Yeah, the alien gets dispatched pretty quick.
Okay, well, they killed that one real quick, so something else is going to have to go down. The alien was
crawling around the ship, and it was very impressive to look at. But she catches it with the claw.
The crane thing that had the claw. It kind of all very reminiscent, I guess, of the exosuit from Aliens.
True.
That, she somehow manages to get it in the claw and just crushes it.
Yeah, that doesn't seem like that would ever happen as fast as those things are, but she does. The Xenomorphs are as stupid as the people are in this movie, apparently. So that alien's taken care of pretty fast. We know there's more to it. There's more.
The movie's not over yet.
There's no way it ends that easy. You just know. You're trained
know.
as a movie viewer to know that something's going on, which is why the tip of it's not Walter. You just know it's not, because there's still got to be some conflict to move this along further. So they get back up to the Covenant. Everything appears to be A-OK.
You know, and I was actually even kind of thinking that, okay, well, whatever goes down now is going to go down because that's not Walter, that's David.
Mother informed Daniels and the other people on the ship that there was some kind of life form.
Yeah, the computer mother.
Yeah, Mother informed that there was
there's an alien life form on the ship, and
no kidding.
So then it's shown that you all you really see is the guy's dead, and the alien has apparently burst out.
They run to the spot. There's just blood all over the window. You know it's too late for that guy. Yeah. The alien's just on the loose. Then they have the shower scene where they managed to work a shower scene in. Two of the other, I think they were like the other pilots up with Tennessee. I guess they were the couple, and so they were taking the sexy shower, and then the alien kills them off. There, you get your shower scene.
Get that out of the way.
Yeah, so it's just right now. It's just Tennessee, Daniels, and David,
and even
Walter.
This whole finale seemed fairly quick and easy. Really, it was just like
wasn't earned.
We're gonna herd the alien to where we want it, cut off this section, and it all just went very smoothly.
I was really confused too that the movie was still kind of jerking us around, like whether or not it was Walter or David, because David was kind of helping Tennessee and Daniels trap the alien.
Kind of reluctantly helping.
Yeah.
It's like she had to ask, like, Walter, where's the alien?
Yeah, and then he's
fine.
Just like,
it's in section 31.
I've done what you've asked me to do. I've complied because maybe I'm an android and I have to. I don't know. But he kind of reluctantly, like you said, helped them escape. They trapped the alien once again in a real kind of classic Aliens. We're gonna shoot the alien into space out of another air lock. This time though, they drive some heavy machinery.
Yeah, but I guess the whole plan was that we're gonna trap it inside this machinery and then let the machinery loose to fly out the airlock.
Yeah. And it works. This stupid half-baked plan actually works.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it doesn't go perfectly.
No.
But it does work. Yes.
There was a little bit of drama where the alien headbutts its way through the window.
Yeah. So it climbs out of the machinery, and you're like, oh no, it got out. Well, it's okay.
Daniels plays chicken with like the alien who's like riding along that tractor, the tractor hits.
So the next piece of machinery is still coming and skewers the alien and flies out, and everything's okay.
All right, so that alien's taken care of. There's actually no more threats of an alien on the ship at this point. So we're at this point in the Alien movie where it's like, now everything's good. We're gonna go back to hypersleep. And I guess just go to the other planet.
You know, and we, the audience, were like, I know that's David and not Walter, but it's not, like, actually revealed.
No. They still are jerking us around at that point. Like, they haven't really revealed that it's David. And it even feels like, I've said in the past, or I've said before, I feel like Daniels kind of knew something was wrong. It felt like she was sensitive.
Like he had those cuts like on his cheek, and he's stapling them together. And
there was that scene where
she kind of like looks at him like you feel like she knows, but
kind of like she was questioning him. You know, like she's feeling him out.
But then it kind of like focused on like, okay, well, he's got a cut off hand,
must be Walter.
David Walter had a cut off hand, so it's got to be Walter. It must be.
Got to count the limbs. So they go to hypersleep. Tennessee goes into hypersleep first, and then Daniel goes into hypersleep, and she can actually still hear David through the glass shield of the hypersleep chamber.
Oh, yeah.
And that's when it's finally revealed that...
will you help me build my log cabin?
Yeah.
And he doesn't respond. He doesn't know what she's talking about.
Because that was the first hint.
I mean, we didn't ever say it, but she had shared this story with him with Walter.
Yeah, Walter
earlier, so Walter would have known.
Heart-to-heart talk about building this log cabin. It was something that she was supposed to do with James Franco's
And so
character
when
died.
David doesn't know this detail, that's when it's revealed. Like,
Uh-oh.
no.
David has like a little line. He's like,
But
it won't be near as bad as what I did to Shaw, or something real sinister. Anyway,
Yeah,
the big reveal that it's David for sure.
So and she can do nothing about it. She's being like put into cryo sleep right at that moment.
David at that point has the ship all to himself.
Yep.
He's totally in control of this Covenant spaceship.
With like thousands of
2,000 settlers
settlers that are all
sleeping
in cryo sleep that we never really
see them in the movie.
throughout
They
the
always
movie.
stay in sleep.
You
It's
just-
just the crew that wakes up.
They're more cargo than anything.
Yeah, they were just passengers, and they were cargo.
Yeah.
So David has access to the 2,000 cargo. But wait a second. What's he actually going to do? What kind of trouble could he actually cause? And then he
Oh yeah. He
goes,
open up the drawer of the little embryos.
Yeah, there
and
are all these frozen human embryos.
cough up some face hugger embryos for safekeeping.
Exactly.
So start his merry experiments again.
Yeah, and then the movie just ends. Like
The end.
David wins.
It's kind of a downer.
It was a really dark ending, which I kind of like. I like that it was a bit dark. It didn't wrap things up because the movie was rushing you to this happy ending. It felt like, and all of a sudden you're like, "Damn, this isn't This is not a happy ending at all. This is some horrific stuff that's going to happen on this 7-year flight."
So now he has thousands of bodies to experiment on.
When the Covenant
And-
actually lands on this planet, some shit's going to spill out of that spaceship. It's not going to be happy for anybody else. And another kicker is that since they were a ship that was to colonize that planet, others would surely come. Other people from Earth.
So, but
They were in for a treat.
so here was my big question, though. Now,
Yes.
I'll start out with saying I enjoyed the movie. I liked it.
Yeah, it was good enough. It was good.
But my question is, so like it reveals that David ultimately is like the architect of the familiar facehugger that we all know and love, that we've seen ever
He's
since the very
responsible for
first Alien movie. So the facehugger is David's creation. And if you look at a timeline, the events of Covenant and the events of Alien take place, like, if I remember correctly, like 18 years apart, right?
Yeah.
So in Alien, we find a derelict spaceship that and the crew of what's the ship's name? Nostromos. I forget. It's
Something like the Stromos.
Yeah, something like that. That the
Their very first ship.
the crew, yeah, they find that derelict engineer spaceship
And the space jockey.
and the space jockey,
Yeah.
and where he's had a chest burster, come out, and there's the eggs everywhere. But he's like fossilized, and it's I think, and I'll have to rewatch it, but I think made clear that it's been there for a long time.
It takes time to fossilize.
Yeah, it's been there for like a really long time.
Yeah.
So that's my big thing is I'd like to see now how will they explain, how will they connect these two? So like if David is the creator of the facehugger and the eggs,
Right.
then how did you get from here to here?
The only thing now this is something I've just thought of. Is it possible that David stumbled upon some blueprints from the engineers?
Well, and that may be, and hopefully maybe the next movie may.
Yeah, maybe they'll. I hope they answer.
Or-
it's too glaring of an oversight.
Or maybe they develop time travel. And
Yeah, Doc Brown's gonna show up in the DeLorean. Marty, I found these eggs.
so anyway, that's what I hope to see in the next one, is just a little more insight to kind of connect the two.
Yeah.
And,
They have to
not
address it.
raise more questions, maybe.
Yeah, they have to address
if that's
it.
possible.
And sometimes when a movie addresses a problem from one movie, it just springs a leak from another. Another plot hole is created almost.
Yeah. So time will tell.
And it's even stranger that it's a Ridley Scott movie, the very original Alien movie. So,
I mean, one would think that they've got all this worked out, and you know, we don't know the details yet, but the powers that be, have an idea in mind.
I've read that Ridley Scott's already basically written out the script for the next Alien movie. So he must have a plan in place. He has a story. And I'm sure that story will change.
I'm going to trust that there are answers out there.
Yeah, go see this movie. It's a really good movie. I think it's one of the better Alien movies. You will have these, you know, you'll come across some little nitpicky items for sure. And there's a lot of, it's a very predictable action
like we
movie,
said before, any movie does. But I liked it. It's good.
It's a good movie. Yeah, I mean, it's checking a lot of the boxes off that Aliens fans really wanted. Like, you got your xenomorph.
And actually, hopefully you've already seen the movie because we just spoiled everything.
You don't need to see the movie now if you haven't seen it. We've kind of pretty much gone blow by blow. There only really anything we left out. Like, we remembered quite a bit of the movie.
We just quoted the entire movie.
Yeah, I'm surprised because it's been several days since we've seen it. And we did just recount pretty much scene for scene the entire movie. I would just like to give a shout out to Danny McBride. I really enjoyed his character. I thought for a guy who usually plays just the comedic jackass role, he's Kenny Powers. Like, I always just look at Danny McBride as are you familiar with Kenny Powers?
No.
Okay.
I am sorry, unfortunately not.
That's okay. You people know Kenny Powers, maybe, sure, but you know, like you see Danny McBride. It's just the image. He's just like loud, obnoxious, but funny and sometimes lovable. This character that he's kind of become, and I thought he was good in this movie. I really felt like he blended into the movie. I didn't think that he was any kind of distraction. He had some humorous parts in the movie. Sugar tits, sugar dick, whatever. Yeah. There was a couple lines that were very Danny McBride, probably out, you know, just kind of riffing in the moment. They didn't write sugar tits in the script, I guarantee it.
Oh, yeah.
That was a Danny McBride edition. But I was impressed. He really nailed his role, and he was dramatic when he needed to be. He played the hero character pretty well, and he was funny when he needed to be. So I thought the character that played Daniels was okay. Pretty generic.
I liked her. I think I like Shaw better.
I did like Shaw better.
But yeah, I mean,
I appreciated Shaw more.
I like Daniels.
Daniels was just kind of there, and you got to have like a strong female protagonist in an Alien movie. It feels like. And she was the one that fit the bill.
It's not an Aliens movie without the female lead.
Right. All thanks to Sigourney Weaver, who's amazing in the previous Aliens movie. Maybe not Resurrection, but it wasn't her fault. That movie was not her fault. It was a good movie. See it. I enjoyed myself. I think a lot of people are seeing it. They're enjoying it more than they thought they would have. Our friend.
I think people were getting more of what they wanted that they missed from Prometheus with this.
It didn't quite satisfy my Prometheus curiosity, but thanks to that one little mini flashback, we did get a little closure.
Yeah, with that kind of whole lore that Prometheus was all about.
It would be nice if they touched on it yet again in the sequel, if there is one, which I don't know how much the money the movie's making, but I think it's doing good.
This was really just the straight up, let's have the action, the aliens action.
Yeah, it was more for the fans. This is for the fans is what they wanted, and Ridley Scott is delivered on that. And it was a really beautifully shot movie, and the sets were good. The aliens I thought looked kind of cool. Mm-hmm. Check it out. All right, so that's that. That's Alien Covenant. So next we're gonna go into we're gonna jump ship to games. We're going to jump back into the world of gaming.
8-bit era.
8-bit era, man. Maybe the best era ever.
My favorite.
Probably my favorite, too. Big fan. I have a lot of favorite 16-bit games.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, in every generation of console, you've got your favorites, of course.
Yeah, there's been improvements upon improvements each generation, but the 8-bit, there's something special.
Yeah, but, I mean, because we had the Atari before that, but there's something about the 8-bit era.
Yeah, it resurrected video gaming. As we all know, it was the great video game crash.
83.
Of 83, where Atari was pumping out the games willy-nilly, and the games they were pumping out, the bigger title games, they weren't doing such a great job.
And they thought it would be a great idea to, let's make this, like, let's get the ET license and the Pac-Man license, and make this game in a week because it must be ready because people want this, and let's make more of this game than our actual consoles that consumers have actually out in the wild.
It got to be a huge mess.
It seemed like, very well. Anyway, we're not talking about the crash.
Yeah, the NES resurrected video gaming, so it had to be good in order to resurrect video gaming, make it a viable entertainment. For companies to jump back on board and convince consumers that hey, video games can be good again. So with the recent popularity of the NES Classic, that elusive NES Classic, the unicorn of the gaming systems, it sold 1.5 million, I think it was. It was the number 2 selling video game console in April.
Talk about business blunders.
Yeah. Nintendo, man. Nintendo does Nintendo things. But it showed that a lot of people are really interested in the classics, the NES.
Yes.
And we thought we would discuss some of our favorite NES games. So this is not necessarily a top 10 list.
And
in a traditional 10 to 1.
Yeah, no particular order. Just our favorites.
Yeah, these are like our favorite games.
No particular order, but so should I start?
Yeah, Nick. Why don't you start with your one of your favorite games?
So I mean, of course, Super Mario Brothers.
The original Super
The
Mario
original
Brothers.
Super Mario Brothers.
Yeah,
that's got to be. I mean,
the game
probably my favorite game of all time, I guess. I mean, if you had to choose one, I would probably say Super Mario Brothers.
A lot of video games got their inspiration from that game. A lot of the good ones, and it pioneered what a side scroller could be.
I remember too when I first heard about Super Mario Brothers. I think my brother had seen like the arcade version of it, and
Play Choice 10?
No, the versus Super Mario. Well, honestly, I couldn't say, but I think it was versus Super Mario Brothers, not the Play Choice 10.
Gotcha.
But because he was like so excited, he's like, Nick, you got to check out. They made a sequel to Mario Brothers. It's called Super Mario Brothers. And it's got like the turtles like from the old Mario Brothers game, but you grab like these mushrooms and you grow big, and I just remember he was like so excited about it. Saw this like in a bowling alley or something like that, and I'm just like this little
bowling alley, yeah. That's where we got our news.
Oh yeah, I mean that's where I found like Street Fighter 2, and that.
I'm not shitting on the bowling alley. Okay, I'm trying to imagine Mark in a bowling alley.
That's a good.
What was he doing there?
I don't know, like if it was like a field trip to the bowling alley, or I don't know. That's how my memory is.
But it was very clearly a bowling alley.
Maybe I'm wrong. That's just where that's just how my mind has made the story go.
Okay. For the purpose of this story, it was.
But it was cool because he was talking about all these similarities that it shared with the original Mario Brothers game, like the pipes, the coins, the turtles, and that's where then he kind of like went on to like the new things, like the mushrooms that make you grow big and whatever. But and I'm just like this little kid, and my eyes are just getting big. Like, this is amazing. I haven't even seen it, but this is the most
Built it
amazing
up
thing
in
I've
your head,
ever
right?
heard. Yeah.
I gotta see this thing.
Yeah, and look at you. I mean, you're wearing your Super Mario Bros. Shirt because it's such a classic.
There's the mushroom right there. I mean, this little plumber is the guy. I mean, he's a rock star in the video game world.
So Super Mario Brothers. So that was my first choice.
The original Super Mario Bros. It's a good one.
So number 2, and again, no particular order. But I guess I'm just gonna have to go with Mario Brothers 3, Super Mario Brothers 3.
Maybe the best Mario game.
Yeah, I mean that was, and I remember you and I. What were we? Probably like 8th grade by that time.
I remember renting.
Yeah, like I spent the night at your house, and we rented it and played it for like 8 hours straight. And
we got pretty far.
We got to like World 6, I think, before we were
World.
just like,
right.
We were just like dead and just like had to sleep or something.
Yeah, we just.
But I kind of remember getting to the ice world.
I remember getting the ice world very clearly.
We knew nothing of warp zones. Well, I mean, did we see the wizard by then? Because the wizard came. That was like the introduction to Super Mario Brothers 3.
Oh.
And so, I think we saw that like before actually being able to play it.
Yeah, I want to say the wizard was already like pretty. It was in Nintendo Power, I'm sure.
I don't know if we were just going through every board because we just had to see everything, or if we just were too dumb
rush through a
to
game?
find the secrets that were already shown to us in a movie, or.
I like to think that we just wanted.
I think we just wanted to go through like everything, and we went through each world in order up to 6.
Yeah.
And I don't remember if we just ended up dying because it got hard, or if we just crashed.
I just think we were just exhausted.
I think we just crashed.
Yeah, we just crashed, and of course, in the morning you wake up and you go home. And I guess I rented it, so I still had it with me. But
you must have played it more. Did you not?
I don't think I did. I think I was just. Maybe I just felt like it would have been unfair to you or something. Like I can't play this without.
And I remember like anticipating, looking for it in stores, like anticipating the release, because you never really knew strong release dates in that at that time.
The commercial was on with the Mario. Yeah. It started out like it panned out. It was like all the people saying Mario, and then it became Mario's face.
Yeah, I remember that commercial.
So that commercial was it was coming.
I would always like go to Babbage's. Yeah, I remember that name, Babbage's.
Babbage's, a couple of former Babbage's employees.
Yeah, not at that time, but in the future. And
probably because we love video games so much, I'm sure.
Yeah, it'll just go and you look at Babbage's like, is it on the shelf yet? I don't see it yet. No, it's not there yet.
No.
And there was like one day that finally it was on the shelf, and I don't even I
think you got it first before me.
That may be true. I don't remember when I bought it because as a kid, it's like, well, I don't have the money right now. Okay, there it is. Mom, please buy this for me.
Oh God, please, Mom, please. I'll do it.
So
you don't understand.
I don't remember like at what point I finally got it, but eventually I got it, and that was like the happiest day ever.
That yellow box. It's like a golden yellow box with the raccoon.
Such a classic design. I love the yellow box.
Yep.
So Super Mario Bros. 2.
Super Mario 3. Great pick.
Oh, I just said Super Mario 2. So Super Mario 3.
Super Mario Brothers 2.
2 was good.
It was alright.
2 was good, but
Ducky Ducky Panic Mario.
Ducky Ducky Panic. But I wasn't gonna include that on my list. It's an excellent game, but that was a slip of the tongue. So what was my third game? What was my third? Mega Man 2.
Oh man.
Mega Man 2.
God, what a great game.
Yeah.
You're hitting all the classics.
Mega Man 2. And I remember so many, like, in that time, you didn't have, like, this whole, like, library of games that you only had a few games. And so you played those games until.
And they usually included Mario and Mario Brothers 3.
And you would like play these like mind games with yourself that you would challenge yourself to do like the most hard impossible things because you were so familiar with that game.
Oh yeah.
Because I know I did that with the original Super Mario Brothers.
Well, speedrunning, there's a whole.
Yeah, and so I remember in particular, like with Mega Man 2, that because you know the Mega Man games, you know that you're supposed to basically go like in a certain order because each robot has a weakness of another robot. Yeah, and so you eventually learn the weaknesses and you know what order to go in. Well, I would try to go. I would always go to like Quick Man first because I found that I could beat Quick Man with the normal weapon, even though I think really technically you're supposed to beat Flashman before you go to that stage because you're supposed to not only use Flashman's time stopper on Quick Man, but when those like energy beams, go by in the board, you stop those and you can just drop safely, and it just makes the whole thing easy. Well, I had to do it the hard way and dodge like every energy beam, with perfect timing. So
that reminds me, it's like, nowadays we'll buy games willy-nilly left and right, but when you bought a game back then, you did have to kind of make up new excuses.
And you seriously played that game until there was like nothing more to do.
Because you'd get it for special occasions.
And not just kind of like shrug it off.
Yeah.
Because, well, I've got this to play now,
right.
So I don't have time for this one.
Oh man, back in the day when you bought a game, that was like your game for a while.
It was an investment.
Yeah, you better pick wisely.
And so you really invested your time.
God help you if you had like some turd like, I don't know, I can't think of any really bad NES.
Well,
RoboCop was a good example. I remember getting RoboCop and being supreme.
Oh, was it bad? I don't think I played it on NES.
Oh, it was so bad.
I played the arcade version and I liked it.
The reason I bought the RoboCop.
And it wasn't the same thing.
Oh no, man! It was a turd. It was really bad. It was like made by Ocean, who were just like Ocean, LJN. I mean, they would take movie licenses and just crank out the biggest turds ever. Similar to the E.T. Atari thing. Like, they just knew people were going to buy it because RoboCop was badass.
Yeah.
And kids just, even though it was a rated R property, like, you just...
The branding.
Yeah, it was the branding. It was, everybody knew who RoboCop was. But, yeah, like, when you had to really pick wisely. So when you got a good game, like, you really did want to just replay it. And Mega Man 2 was a great game to replay. Mm-hmm. I remember Mega Man 2... it was the first Mega Man game I played. I didn't play Mega Man 1.
I remember you lied about beating it.
Oh, man. Yeah, you got me. That was, we had a sleepover at a friend's house, and we were playing Mega Man 2 and trying to beat it.
Yeah, and you had said you would beat the game.
We all fell asleep, right? Did I claim that I beat it after you all went to bed?
No. It was like prior, because I was playing it. And I had never beat it before, and I think I had said like I'd been to like a certain part, like I'd been pretty far or whatever, but I'd never beat it. But you had previously said you'd beat it, but then
I seemed surprised.
Yes, when I was like so excited, like I got past like this one part that I'd never got past before,
and then it continued.
And so then I'm progressing along in the end of the game, and you were like shocked you've never seen like this before, and I'm like.
Wait a minute.
I thought you beat this before. You liar.
I don't know, man. I did that thing where a kid makes shit up to make themselves seem more important. You totally got me in that lie.
You liar. And so, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think I beat it that night. If not, I did later. But yeah, excellent game.
That is definitely a point in our friendship that sticks out like that. Ron Avis lied at beating Mega Man 2.
You liar.
I totally lied. I don't know why I did, but
it's like you say. That's what kids do.
Yeah,
sound important.
Kids make stuff up. Like my dad works for Nintendo, and
I don't remember his name now, but like I remember like one kid that like in middle school, like Super Mario 3 it just came out, and he's like. My dad goes to Japan all the time, and Super Mario 4 is already out there. And in Super Mario 4, like one of the power up items is a paper clip, and you turn into a paper airplane, and this is literally what he said, and I was buying it. You know, and you turn into a paper airplane, and I'm like, wow, really? Yeah, cause,
that's really weird, but okay. I guess why would you lie?
well, you know, and I don't know any different. I mean, because it's kind of well known they're developed in Japan, and so he's
Story's checking out already.
Yeah, so anyway.
And one would stand to believe that there would be a Super Mario 4 being released.
Later on, I would realize he was full of it. You know,
full of shit. Yeah. Well, what was the kid who said that he could beat Shinobi in 1 quarter? And then we went to that golf place, and they had a Shinobi arcade, and we were
and
like,
he couldn't do it.
Yeah, like wait,
here's a quarter. I'll even give you a quarter. Do it. Oh no.
You might have bullshit his way and said he was
I'm too rusty.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
Nick and I knew. We knew that he was full of it. That was a hard game to beat in a quarter.
Shinobi is hard.
It's got a lot of cheap hits. Great game. Love that game. But it's just hard. But yeah, Mega Man 2 was the first game that I played in the series. I don't think I played Mega Man.
Well, and it was the first I played in the series too. And I went back, and I remember too, because like I loved it so much. Eventually then I had saved my money and I bought Mega Man 1. And Mega Man 1 is ridiculously hard. And I just remember like kind of being disappointed by it. And I eventually beat it as well, but it was like a kick in the nuts compared to Mega Man 2.
That's saying something because Mega Man 2 is not an easy game.
No, it's not. But
I had played Mega Man 2 before that night we played.
In my opinion,
rented it and brought it home.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was working at Blockbuster, and they had it, and he brought it home. He would sometimes bring games home, but I did play it. I just didn't beat it.
In my opinion, though, it is the most fun. Of all the Mega Mans. And 3 is very good.
2 and 3 are like usually the ones that people argue, which is the
best. A lot of people will lean towards 3, and I don't know if it's because it introduced Rush and it's got the slide.
It's got the slide.
But
I don't think people
for me it's
about Rush
2.
That slide.
Yeah.
I'm with you. I think 2 is the definitive best Mega Man game. The music and I mean it's so classic Mega Man. And all the other Mega Man games are good, but that for sure was a good pick.
So, okay, so number 4. What was number 4? Double Dragon 2.
Oh, Double Dragon 2. Maybe not the best game on the list, but maybe the most fun.
And that was
in terms of cooperative play.
Yeah, that was really why I included it, because of just the fond memories of playing it. When I would, at your house or whatever, we'd have a sleepover.
We'd laugh so hard.
Just the co-op of playing Double Dragon 2. The
brutality of getting somebody in a headlock and kneeing them repeatedly over and over.
You figured out like exactly the combinations that, okay, now I can do the knee, now I can do that.
Yeah, you would grab them by the hair and it was like a wrestling grapple, and then you're elbowing them like this.
And you would just time it out and just slowly I got him in the headlock. Okay, now let me just hold him for a little while.
Like a cat that's got a mouse in its claws,
Hold him for a little while again. Knee. Okay, this is gonna be the last hit. Like, dude, like the kick straight up in the air, so they go flying up in the air.
Oh, that kick straight up in the air was the best.
Or dude, like the throw. Like, like if you had got him in the headlock and you're like next to like some water or a pit or something, then you can throw him over the pit.
Oh god, that game was so much fun. Really, it was kind of it got really hard at a point. Remember the tread, the conveyor?
Oh yeah, there could be frustrating moments, but we could beat it though, and that was often that we would put it on whatever I think the hardest difficulty.
Yeah, we could beat that game.
And that we could even hurt ourselves, like punch each other if we got in each other's way.
Yeah.
And to challenge, just like what we were saying before, to challenge ourselves.
Yeah.
And we could do it.
That game had great replayability. And it definitely wasn't a game that I would have had nearly as much fun if it wasn't for playing with you and co-op.
The Double Dragon series is one of the very few instances, I think, where the NES version far exceeds the arcade version. Mm-hmm. The arcade version is fine in its own right.
Yeah.
But especially Double Dragon 2. Like, the arcade Double Dragon 2 sucks.
It's not as good.
I think.
Yeah. The arcade Double Dragon 1 may be better than the
Yeah,
original.
Double Dragon 1 in the arcades. I mean that's pretty good, and it's different on NES, and
By
it's
the way,
good
I
on
played that
NES.
at a bowling alley once.
Yeah, who hasn't?
Yeah, right. But yeah, I agree, man. Those games were really, really good on Nintendo. It never felt like you were playing the inferior version, like sometimes you would.
And even Double Dragon 3, that wasn't as good, was even worse in the arcades. It was just awful. I don't know.
Are you telling me there was a Double Dragon 3 arcade game? I
Yeah.
didn't know that.
Absolutely, yes.
I did
yes.
not know that.
Now, that one I didn't see in a bowling alley.
So then it doesn't matter.
But I did see, I think it was at like the U of L arcade.
Oh, okay.
Because like by that time I think I was in
you were
high
at
school
Manual, yeah.
at Manual, and yeah, so every now and then you'd walk over to U of L.
Man, I was always so jealous of those stories. It was like you would get out of Manual and go across.
And because there was actually like a full blown arcade that was like
two
next to
places
like a
you could play.
laundromat, and there was an arcade like in like the food court for like U of L, and there was a Double Dragon 3 machine that was in the food court, and it was the same synopsis as the NES game, the Rosetta Stones, but it was completely different, and it was terrible.
I remember buying that game for the NES and being a little just let down by it, and I think I lent it to you.
It was
you enjoyed it a lot more than I did.
Well, it was a pretty steep learning curve. It was so different, and I finally kind of played it enough to kind of figure out how it was different than the others, and how it was in its own right. And I don't remember if I beat it, but I did get fairly far in it, and because you unlock more characters along the way.
I enjoyed that you could be like there was like a ninja, and there was like a
there was like
the Billy.
There was like a Chinese guy and like a ninja guy.
And they each had their own fighting styles.
Everybody had their own abilities. Yeah, like the ninja guy had like the claw.
Graphics were good.
Yeah.
But it just didn't have all those same...
You could do different moves, like you could like run at a wall and jump and like spring off the wall and do a kick. And but anyway.
One could say that it was superior in a lot of ways, but it just didn't hit those
It didn't,
satisfaction.
It didn't click. I don't know what it was about it, but because it certainly did try to do more than like say 2 did, but it just I don't
ambitious.
think was as successful.
Usually the story of Double Dragon just revolved around your girlfriend getting captured and then you just fighting through the waves of bad guys again and again and again just to kind of save your girlfriend.
I mean, that kind of reminds me, recently they had like Double Dragon 4 come out like on PlayStation 4, and I assume like Xbox One I think did too.
Probably.
And like any other current system. But it was like, that was, if I remember right, I've only really played it like the one time, and I need to go back and play it again.
Yeah.
But it seemed like it was that again also. It's like, and
it's such a trope and cliche, and it's been so many years.
And I think they were actually like doing that to kind of poke fun at itself too, in ways.
Self-referential.
Yeah.
We know this is a Double Dragon staple. Like a girlfriend has to get abducted, and then that's the only reason you're even fighting through.
We definitely need to play that again though.
We'll definitely get there. But Double Dragon 2 was, man, that's another great.
My favorite of the series.
Mine too.
So that was 4. So my 5th favorite game, no particular order, The Legend of Zelda.
Legend of Zelda.
Legend of Zelda. Now the first place I saw The Legend of Zelda, not a bowling alley. Of course, I mean that was our arcade games, and this was.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, if it had been an arcade, you would have for sure found it in a bowling alley.
But Sears, of all places, where remember when Sears would have like that setup of like NES games, and like there was like a box that you could see each like 10 I think maybe games like into this like setup. And it was on a timer, and you could like hit a button.
Damn that timer!
So like you could play for like I don't know 5 or 10 minutes or whatever, and then it would
in life
reset.
made me happier than seeing that Sears kiosk with the choice of original Nintendo games.
And that was my first experience of The Legend of Zelda, and so and it was like upstairs, and so I'd go up that escalator, and go over to, I guess it was like the electronics department. And
Yeah, it was near the toy section, I think.
yeah,
It might have been.
like they had a few toys maybe.
Yeah, they had a few
And,
G.I. maybe, and like there wasn't
like
much. It was
the
usually with Sears. It was like tires and craftsman tools.
Yeah, remember the Inhumanoids? Like there were those
Oh,
giant,
the gigantic, monstrous humanoids, of course.
But the thing I remember about when I was first playing The Legend of Zelda series is just not having absolutely no idea what am I doing, and I had like no concept that for starters that, well, go into that cave that's right there and it's dangerous to go alone, take this and you get a sword, because I don't even think I picked up the sword. I think I was just kind of like wandering around and never could figure out you could like go up, to there's a pathway up. I for whatever reason I just kept going like left. I didn't even go right.
To go left or right.
Well,
it was the first non-linear.
Well,
game,
you're trained to go
right.
Right.
Yeah, true.
But for whatever reason, I wouldn't even go right. I went left, and there's like enemies, and then so I didn't have a sword, and so I'm dodging the enemies, and I'd go left again, and then there's like a river, and you can't cross the river.
What is the point of this game?
Yeah, and that's how. And so I was like, well, I don't understand what I'm doing, and by that time it resets on you,
right?
And so I'm just like, well, whatever. And so
probably not the greatest sales.
And so I wasn't super impressed with it, but for whatever reason that may be, I rented it one day, and when I rented it, I actually got the instruction book.
Oh my god, that is one of the best.
The map
ever.
That game came with like a map.
Yeah.
And then you can. Now you can delve into like this rich history.
Well, when you see that map, you have that sense of the world that you're playing in.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, the scale of it, you're really in a full blown adventure.
And the book even kind of holds your hand and says, "Hey, make your way to the first dungeon.
Mm-hmm.
Go this way." And so you do that. You kind of follow, and then you get, by that point you get an idea of all this exploration that you can do, and just the whole world opens up.
I remember there being a real strong push by Nintendo for their advertising, like that commercial where they...
What, the rat?
The rats! No, not the rat. There was like this crazy little guy, and he was like...
Levers!
Yeah! It was really strange. This is like such a bizarre idea to sell a kid a game. But it really... For whatever reason, you knew it was a big deal, so maybe that's why you were persuaded to.
That may be why I rented it. Yes,
yeah. And
the word started really getting out of how amazing this game is.
Even if you didn't really know what was happening, the graphics were good and the music was really interesting.
And I'm probably thinking, well, that's that game I played at Sears, but all right, I'll give it a shot.
You didn't get really much of an opportunity with the timer, which was really short.
So anyway, I'm glad I did, and it's amazing. And
needless to say,
if I could pick two favorite games of all time, then probably Super Mario Bros. And The Legend of Zelda.
Can't disagree with you there, brother. That's a pretty solid 5. I've also brought my 5, my list, and we kind of discussed ahead of time, what our 5 was going to be. I wanted to make a 10 game list. I didn't, because we would have probably just ended up picking up 5 the same.
Yeah, I thought inevitably we're gonna have a few games on this list, but so now you're forced to say a few games.
Yeah, you kind of threw down the gauntlet with all the classic games.
So I'm sure you would have gone Super Mario Brothers, Legend of Zelda, but you can't choose those now.
No, it would not be very interesting top 10 if we end up having a lot of the same duplicates in there. But I mean, I will agree that most of those games you said, and probably in fact all of those games would be in my top 10 for sure, and most of those would be my 5. But I decided to pick some other games, which are for sure some of my favorite games. And I guess I'm going to start at my 5 is the TMNT2 arcade game.
Absolutely.
I mean, it was like a match made in heaven.
Now, I mean, it was like the Easy Bake Oven version of the arcade game, but it was like the best you could get at home at the time.
It really pushed the NES to the limit, and they couldn't have as many enemies, and you couldn't have all the turtles on screen at once. But it was
no 4-player.
It was as close to playing the arcade game as they could have gotten.
But we loved it.
Oh man, we loved that game.
Oh, and they even like added in like one or maybe two new stages. Two new stages. Yeah, because one of them was like kind of a Shogun stage, and another was like a snow stage. Yeah, and they definitely lengthened them as well.
Oh,
yeah.
Because when we go back and play the original arcade game in MAME and emulators, like you really are kind of taken aback by how short the game is. You can beat the game pretty fast.
Yes.
But the NES game took a bit longer, and it's because like they didn't want you to feel gypped. It's going to be a game that you're going to end up having to play for a while, and it's definitely one of those games where I challenged myself to beat, under certain parameters that I set up for myself. Not that the game set them up, but I played that game. I beat that game so many times. I couldn't even tell you.
And they couldn't do things like have both Bebop and Rocksteady on that one board.
Yeah.
So who'd they have? Like Baxter Stockman as a fly, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was probably one of the best examples of an arcade game coming to a home console and being as faithful as it could possibly be.
Yeah, I mean, not really counting the classic arcade games like Pac-Man or Dig Dug, Donkey Kong, all those obviously came onto the NES.
The forefathers of our video games.
Yeah, but this was like one of the first that I remember that, this is a current game I play in the arcade right now, and it's coming home for the first time.
Yeah, it was a big deal.
Super exciting.
Very big deal, and that I don't remember like the moment I first played it. I remember playing that game a whole lot, and it was Ninja Turtles, and it was the port of the arcade, and it was something you could finally play at home, which was awesome. So that was my fifth game. The next game I'm going to go with is going to be talking about arcade ports. Let's talk about a game that I assumed was going to be ported, but due to the inability to be able to go online and check stuff out before we actually bought it, Ninja Gaiden.
Ninja Gaiden
was a game that I really, really liked in the arcade.
That's an interesting, yes, because we love that game in the arcades.
Yeah.
And then you play this game on the NES, and it is not the same game.
It is so not the same game.
But it's a very good game in its own right.
Yeah, credit to...
super hard.
Very difficult, very challenging game, but it was one of the best examples of it, like an action scroller. Most of the scrollers that I was used to at the time were more deliberate, like a Mario. This was very action-based, and I liked ninjas, and I really I didn't want to give up on the game just because I popped the game in the cartridge, and I think it has like
so
in the boat.
You were expecting the arcade?
Yeah, I totally was expecting the arcade. I was renting it. And I went and I saw the box like on the shelf, like when you go to a video store.
Looks different, but okay.
Like, this doesn't look like the same Ninja.
And
you flip the box over.
The artwork on the front of the box, if I'm not mistaken, is the same on the arcade cabinet.
It might have been, and also I want to say that there's a cinematic scene that's very similar.
Yeah,
to the NES
where they're like running through the rain and they jump in front of the moon and slash.
Yeah. Or there's like I want to say there's a scene where he's like on a boat and it looked cool, and I remember it being. But aside from that, the two games could not be more different.
Very, very different.
I mean, one is like a fighter quarter, beat 'em up kind of game.
And then it's funny too, because then years and years later, when the first Xbox came out, they bring out another Ninja Gaiden, and it's so different again. Yeah, it's like they've rebooted that game like 3 times at least, and it's the same name, exact same name. They don't even like give it like a subtitle to like tell you this is different than that one. This is Ninja Gaiden the arcade game, Ninja Gaiden the NES game, Ninja Gaiden the Xbox game.
Team Ninja, man. Each time they would reinvent the wheel.
It's like 3 totally different games, exact same name.
All very quality, all very hard. If there's one touchstone that...
Yeah, I never... because I never got the original Xbox.
It was a tough game. It was very hard.
So...
I never beat it.
When I did get an Xbox 360, there was... because it was backwards compatible with most original Xbox games, and so there was a few games that I went out and bought. Halo was one. Yeah. Halo 2 was another one. Ninja Gaiden was one. And... So, because I'm like, everybody says how good of a game this is, so I'm gonna get it. And, because I was able to get it for cheap because it's old by now.
Last generation.
Yeah, and I don't even think I beat the first board. And I can't say that I focused on it a lot, but it was hard. I played through a little bit, and it was. I think I got to like maybe the boss of the first board. I don't really remember, but I just remember just dying, and then I never played it again. So I mean, I'm sure it's an excellent game, but
Yeah, you would think that they would want to at least ease you along a little bit, kind of reward you from get through the first couple stages and then start kicking your ass. But no, they start whipping your ass from the get. I remember our friend Jason being a big fan of the Nintendo Ninja Gaiden. So one of the 3D version, and this is modern times now with the internet. I knew it was a completely reboot of the series, and it was completely shifted to a 3D game. But I didn't know how hard it was going to be. And I remember we started playing it, and we were just both like, "Man, this game is too hard." And we probably stopped playing it. We put in Halo instead.
And I mean, back to the original, the original arcade's the original, but the NES game. That I mean, it was just it was so hard as well. You're playing through this side scroller and you're hacking and slashing and whatever, and you try to like make this jump, and a hawk will come down and like
it was really
hit
good
you.
at the cheapness.
And so you'd fall into the bottomless pit, and then it would send you back like so far, and you'd get so frustrated.
It was one of those games too where like if you inched ahead on the screen and you got hit and fell back, that enemy would instantly regenerate.
Oh, and Mega Man 2 had that as well.
That's true.
Yeah.
But with Ninja Gaiden, at least with Mega Man,
yeah, so that was terrible because you're like you're so careful to like kill this enemy so that he won't nick you like when you try to make this jump, but then you've backed up a little bit to get a good running start on this jump, and you've like
I'm back.
Yeah, you've respawned this enemy now.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
As tough as that game was, it was a lot of fun. I mean, the feel of that game and being able to jump onto ledges.
Oh, that was amazing.
Yeah, that was completely unique.
Yeah, do that ninja jump.
This is a really fun game. I really enjoyed it, even though it was hard as hell, and I don't even remember if I've ever beaten it because of that part where you get towards the end. If you die at the final boss, it resets you back to the beginning of that world. And you see that, you just want to throw your controller and just say, hell with this. I'm not, and then you go back to it later. But you got to take a break. That's how Nintendo controllers get smashed. Yeah. So that's like my second of my 5.
Definite classic.
The next thing I want to go with is DuckTales.
DuckTales
was so fun.
DuckTales.
Disney after
another hard game. All the NES games were like so hard.
Oh, kids nowadays. I mean, I know I'm gonna sound old because like every generation talks about how like the current generation has it easier than the previous. We're talking about video games. It's funny. But yeah, they were all really hard. And my son is 6. He's used to the current gen, and like it's very forgiving.
Has he played like the remastered DuckTales?
No, he hasn't played the remastered DuckTales. He's just gotten a whiff of some of the RetroPie versions of the emulators. I haven't even played the remastered version of the DuckTales, other than like the demo. I think was like the first stage.
Oh, it's good. You should. Yeah.
It looks good, and it's one of those games where like.
But it's one of those too that you got to get in that groove because it's still hard. But then you stay at it for a little bit and you start learning like the ins and outs and memorizing where there's an enemy or whatever. And
I think one of the reasons I so fondly remember DuckTales is that it was a game that came out of nowhere. Like that was one of those games where like nobody really was on their radar. And I was in Toys R Us and they had a poster for it in the front window, and I had some money to spend. There wasn't a game out that I wanted, so I bought DuckTales. And the Disney afternoon was so big at the time. DuckTales was like huge, and even at that point, maybe Rescue Rangers was coming out or was out, but maybe not. But I got DuckTales, and like the whole mechanic of hopping around on the pogo stick, the cane like a pogo stick, was completely original. I thought it's something you see in other games nowadays, like Shovel Knight. Emulates it very well. But I mean, again, the music is so good, and Capcom games just can be so excellent when it comes to the music.
Yeah, Capcom. It kind of bothers me the bad name that Capcom gets now because of decisions.
Yeah,
But
deservedly so for some things.
but back in the day, I mean, Capcom had like all of my favorite games.
Yeah, they really were one of the best. I mean, you had your Nintendo, who was your first party, but then Capcom and Konami, you could always count on. And then Konami's another present day developer that gets a lot of shit for whatever, for reasons that they probably deserve. But
Yeah.
I really enjoyed DuckTales. I thought it was a situation where they took a property and didn't take advantage of a kid and just put out crap. Like, it was a really fun game. And I still, a lot of times if I'll install an emulator or, whatever, DuckTales is one of the first games that I end up loading because it's such a fun game. And then if I'm going to talk about DuckTales, I might as well go ahead and talk about Rescue Rangers.
I knew this one was coming. Yes.
Rescue Rangers is such a funny story because it's
The anticipation of release.
I enjoyed DuckTales so much, and I really enjoyed Rescue Rangers, the TV show, that I just knew that Rescue Rangers, the game, was going to be the end-all, be-all, best game ever. And, oh my god, I feel so sorry for the employees of any game store within 20 miles. If that
I mean, how many different... I mean, I know, like, Toys R Us.
Toys R Us, Walmart, Babbage's. Those were definitely the three that I would repeatedly
Was it
call.
like every day?
Every day.
Every day.
Every damn day.
Phone calls every day. Is Rescue Rangers out yet?
Yeah, they knew, because I had that like squeaky voice too, probably. They're like, it's that little like, squeaker kid calling in for Rescue Rangers. Damn, that game can't be this good. But I just knew it was going to be good. Nintendo Power would show the previews, and I'd get real ramped up. And you just didn't know when a game was coming out. It's like you said for Mario 3. There were no hard
release dates.
Every game nowadays has a hard release date, but it wasn't until like Sonic 2 where they finally started.
No internet.
No internet. You just had EGM, Game Pro, which was something you just bought. Nintendo Power, and they would just show the month. You knew it was coming out a month or sometimes a season. Like just fall.
You might see like an advertisement for like some like phone order. You can order
I remember those.
Yeah, and
back of the
so
magazines.
you would see like box art pictures and like there's a picture of the Rescue Rangers box. And maybe it's out. I don't know.
You don't know. You couldn't just drive up to the store, so you'd call on. So like that's one of those games. And honestly, the game didn't disappoint me. Like when it came out, I really, really enjoyed it. It had a really nice co-op to it. You could play as either Chip or Dale, or you could play together. And
I liked you could hide in the box.
Yeah, you could
pick up a box and duck down, and it would have little eyeballs on it. You're hiding inside. The person would just run by.
Yeah, you could say that the game is not one of the greatest games for the NES.
Chip and Dale did it before Solid Snake.
Chip and Dale did do it before Solid Snake. Hiding in the box is so true. But that game really holds a special place in my heart, just if nothing for else. It's just, we remember that story of how I drove all the
anticipation.
And oh my god, when I finally got my hands on that beautiful purple box, it was great. Played it a ton of times. It's another game that I always load up, one of the first games in emulators, and it's just a classic game. Maybe not a game that we played a whole lot together, but in fact, you probably wouldn't have never even have known about it or cared about it if I hadn't have always just been like Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers.
I don't know, hard to say. Yeah. I remember definitely playing DuckTales, like renting that, but it's hard to say.
Yeah, so that's one of my games. Next is Contra, a lot of co-op games. Contra is
up, down, left, right, BA, start.
Exactly. Is it BA select start? Maybe not select.
I think there's different variations.
Yeah, one is probably only necessary to actually get it to work, but I always put in the select in there just in case, I guess.
I'm not really sure now which one was originally with Contra.
I don't know. That code is just as legendary as the game itself. I mean, but the game is a whole lot of fun. With that, but it was a really hard game, which if it wasn't for that code, nobody would have gotten past the first couple levels.
So hard.
just bullets flying everywhere. I mean,
That's like the first thing we say of every game. So hard.
so hard. Well,
so
all
hard.
the games were hard.
One hit death.
One hit deaths. You couldn't even touch a dude. You were dead. Like a guy looks at you the wrong way, you're dead.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just the way the games were back.
I remember, and this one wasn't with you. That there was first time I played it. It was
Another arcade port, by the way. That was originally an arcade game.
It was, yeah.
Pretty faithfully done for the NES.
I never really played it in the arcades, but you're right.
Yeah, it was not bad.
But there was a I guess fellow student that was on the bus that I walked home with him and played Contra, and so he would put in the code, so we had all our lives. And I just remember, because he knew what was going to happen.
Yeah.
First time I'd ever played it. And
He's
so
just dying left and right.
He knows, bullets are going to be flying from here, whatever, and I have no clue. And so, I'm just dying left and right. But
you didn't care.
But it was fun, and I don't, I think he ended up like beating it because I had lost all my lives and died at some point, and he beat it without me by that time, and I watched the whole thing. And it was amazing and cool, and and then I would play it on my own later on. But yeah, classic.
It was a great game, and it was Konami and Capcom again, as good as it got when it comes to third party. My last game is a little bit lesser known, but it's Super Dodgeball, which uses the same art as the Double Dragon games.
I remember it. I didn't really play it terribly, but wasn't it like similar to River City Ransom?
Same art style, yeah. Maybe more so to River City Ransom than Double Dragon, honestly.
Yeah, I didn't really
They
play.
were like kind of in that same. Well, they had to be from the same developer, but I don't know that for sure. They moved similarly, and they definitely looked similar. But Dodgeball is just there were a lot of sports games that I was going to put on this list that I considered, but I didn't want to put you out to sleep. At least you playing some Super Dodgeball. But
I have played it, but I think it was only because on vacation at relative's house and they had it or something like that.
It was. I mean, every kid likes Dodgeball, and it was such an exaggerated game. It was usually like 3 guys on 3 guys, and each player had like a special move, whether it be like a supersonic football or a move where the ball would kind of unpredictably go all over the screen and it would hit the other player, and it was like Double Dragon in the sense that the physics were so brutal, like they would just go flying off the screen. It was so satisfying to hit another player with these dodgeballs, similar to real life. It's really satisfying to hit another kid with a dodgeball that makes that sound. But Super Dodgeball was one of those games that, once again, whenever it comes out on Virtual Console or if it's firing up an emulator for the first time, it's one of those games that I've always played, even if it's just for a few matches. Yeah, it is definitively one of my top 10 games, and I don't have a whole lot of great anecdotes as far as the game goes, but I have played the game a lot, and it's a really fun game. And if you've never played it, I totally recommend it. And I think there's been some updated versions of the game come out, like for Game Boy Advance. I think they did a Super Dodgeball game.
Oh, yeah. I don't know if I remember that. I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, I wouldn't lie. I would only lie about beating Mega Man 2. But, that's our top 10. A lot of those games, I think, well, for sure, your games are all on the NES Classic.
Yeah, and, in the comments, let us know, what your top 10
what are your
NES games are.
Did we leave a game out?
Yeah, and keep, this list for NES. Maybe we'll do, like Super NES or Genesis or something.
I definitely see us doing an updated list for other systems.
Yeah, so this was specifically NES games.
Yeah, just for NES. I think it's topical because of the popularity of the NES Classic. Even though not everybody got their hands on one, some people got a lot of them. But it just goes to show.
I did not, but
it's such a great system, and so I just wanted to go and talk about that. But that's pretty much our show that we have. thanks for watching, sticking with us. We've gone over a lot of things.
Yeah.
Our first episode, we talked probably more than we thought we were going to go. We thought, well, we'll probably go, what did you say, like 15, 20, 30 minutes?
I thought this was going to be 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And, we just kind of chat, here's a game, boom, 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 boom. Okay, done. Have a nice day.
Oh, good to see you, sir, and we'll do this again sometime. But, we've gone on some tangents, talked about a few things I didn't think we were going to talk about, but that's just what we're going to be doing on this channel. We're going to be talking about geek stuff.
Whatever happens, happens.
Yeah, just thanks for listening, and the next time we get together, we'll probably, maybe we'll do a top 10 again for like say 16-bit NES, or we could just include all of the 16-bit, throw Genesis in there too, because you can't really talk Super Nintendo and 16-bit without talking about the Genesis.
Yeah, or like just arcade games of the era. Dragon's Lair.
Yeah, or you can say in the comments, is there anything that you'd like us to go over? Do you have like a topic or list that you'd like us to? I mean, we go way back. I mean, we could throw an Atari 2600 list together.
Street Fighter 2.
Yep.
Yeah. The top 5 Atari 2600 games.
Or the top 5 worst games of all time, or something like that. People really like to bitch and whine about stuff. So it could be the perfect forum for, like, oh man, it's boring to hear what people really like. Let's hear what people really dislike. And maybe that RoboCop game could find its way on that list. I don't know about you, how many horrible games you've been saddled with.
Yeah, they undoubtedly have played my share, but, I can't even, think of what they may be at this point.
There was some really bad TurboGrafx 16 games I bought just because I was trying to keep that system alive. I was really a big cheerleader for that TurboGrafx 16.
Well, I got the 3DO
Yep,
for the sole reason
TurboGrafx.
it had Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo.
Yeah, Street Fighter was, if we were to do like an all-time 5.
Yeah, that particular version is on other systems now, but at the time, it was the only console that version of Street Fighter was on.
Yeah, that's dedication right there, man, to get your hands on a version of Street Fighter that you could play on Super Nintendo, but not that version of Street Fighter. And that was not a bad system.
No, I mean, it introduced Gex, and he moved on to PlayStation and whatever, and I don't think the future games were that great, but...
If you want to know more about Gex, just leave the comments. We'll do a series on Gex.
It was a good little game at the time,
Yeah, it was the mascot era. What can I say? All right. Well, next week we'll be back. Hopefully, maybe. Again, thanks for tuning in. Take it easy. This was BitGeek episode 1, and we'll see you later.